Well, ladies and gentlemen, Bad Juju has been around for a long time. This weapon was introduced with the initial batch of exotics in Destiny 1. And while it didn't resurface until Season of Opulence in Year 2 of Destiny 2, when it came back, it didn't miss a beat. Some exotics that have been brought forward from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2 just didn't retain the same feel. Hawkmoon. Excuse me. But Bad Juju holds true to its original form and function. Bad Juju is still doing what Bad Juju has always done. And if you're not familiar with what that is, I'll have the answers for you in this review. Plus, we'll get to see how this weapon's holding up here in Season of the Chosen. And if you've never acquired the catalyst for this weapon, it is dropping at the end of activities here in Season 13, so we can take a look at that also. But if at any point you find this video useful, helpful, or enjoyable, please remember to leave it a like. And consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel to catch much more Destiny 2 content presented by yours truly. But let's get into the review with a look at Bad Juju's stats and perks. Bad Juju is an exotic kinetic pulse rifle firing at 450 rounds per minute with 27 rounds in the magazine. For the stats, we'll pull in some solid numbers from Destiny Tracker, and the only category that we're really lacking in is the range, sitting at 46. The aim assist, I suppose, could be a touch better, that's sitting at 60, but everything else is looking pretty good, especially the 79 instability. The intrinsic trait is String of Curses, stating that this weapon does everything. Well, not everything, but it does a lot. Kills with this weapon refill the magazine and provide a Rampage-esque damage boost with a stacking effect. Kills will also grant us bonus super energy based on the strength of String of Curses. And this weapon does fire in full auto. So yeah, there's a bunch of built-in utility here. There is no true exotic perk on this weapon, but it does come with hipfire grip, increasing hipfire accuracy, stability, and targeting. And the exotic catalyst for Bad Juju extends the duration of String of Curses. This works in a very similar way to putting a Rampage spec on a weapon that has Rampage. But if you don't have Bad Juju yet and you would like one of your very own, head to the Legacy Weapon Kiosk at the tower. It's going to cost you a fair bit of currencies and materials, but it's there for the taking. And I'm not 100% sure if the Forsaken weapons are still locked behind the purchase of the expansion, but they may be. And as I mentioned earlier, the catalyst is now dropping randomly from activity completions. And if you're still looking for it, just be happy you didn't have to weather the cost of obtaining it through the Tribute Hall. This catalyst was stinking expensive. But anyway, let's move into the PvE section and check out Bad Juju's damage, functionality, and performance. Alright, we'll get the functionality aspects out of the way first. For this weapon's recoil, when firing in full auto, the bursts are tight, and the pattern is very vertical when aiming down sights. The same can be said when firing from the hip, until the last couple of bursts. Things do get a little squirrely there, but it's nothing too extreme. For the base, unaltered reload time, we're looking at 1.57 seconds before the gun is ready to fire again. I'd normally retime our speed with a loader mod on here, but with this weapon, spend those energy points elsewhere. Because with each kill we secure, Bad Juju's magazine will be instantly and fully reloaded. And these bullets are not pulled from reserves, so ammo economy on this weapon is really a non-issue. Also, upon securing a kill, you will gain 1 stack of String of Curses, and you can build up a total of 5 stacks. When the catalyst is unlocked, you must secure a kill within 5 seconds of the previous kill to keep your stacks activated. I believe without the catalyst we are looking at 3.5 seconds, but even at 1.5 seconds, it is definitely worth it. It makes a big difference. These stacks will grant bonus damage, which we'll get to in a minute, and they'll provide some super regen, but we're supposed to see greater super gains with higher stacks. So we need to test this out. Currently, my Warlock has tier 5 intellect, so if I sit around and do absolutely nothing for 4 minutes and 31 seconds, I'm guaranteed to have my super. But any kill with any weapon will reward some super energy, and higher tier enemies do provide a bigger bonus. And if you happen to have caught my Mantle of Battle Harmony video, I can test Bad Juju in the exact same manner. For the testing, I will be using the Conflux Lost Sector on Nessus. And to establish a control for this experiment, I'll be using the Time Worn Spire Kinetic Pulse Rifle. So, I burn my super, and then proceed to wipe out every enemy in the initial wave, except for the boss Karl the Colossus. While of course being very careful not to pick up any orbs of power. But the enemies in this Lost Sector consist of 2 major tier Nightmare War Beasts, 3 Red Bar Incendiors, 7 Red Bar Scions, and 11 Red Bar Legionnaires. After offing all of the targets, we wait. Well, I waited, I'm not going to make you wait. But my super was topped off in 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Control established. I repeated the same process with Bad Juju. Twice actually. Since more super gains are supposed to be granted at higher stack tiers, I wanted to simulate two different in-game scenarios. First, a scenario where our kills are more spaced out. I really took my time killing the baddies here. I was trying to keep my stacks between 1 and 3 and not go over that. Once all the enemies were defeated, I hung out for a little bit and saw my super ready to go in 2 minutes and 37 seconds. This shaved a full minute off our controlled cooldown. Scenario number 2, an ad-heavy environment, where I tried to keep my stacks as high as possible for the duration of the run-through. I did end up losing my stacks toward the end of the run-through, but approximately 75% of the enemies were defeated with 5x String of Curses. In this case, my super was ready to roll in 2 minutes flat. A definite improvement, so keep those String of Curses stacks high for maximum super gains. And there was one more thing I wanted to take into account. The Thresh Perk. Thresh is a perk introduced with Beyond Light that rolls on legendary weapons, and this does grant super energy on a kill, which is kinda stepping on Bad Juju's toes a little bit. But are we gonna see a faster super cooldown with Thresh? Repeating the process one more time with my Thresh Roll Shadow Price equipped. Upon downing every enemy and waiting around for a few moments, my super was ready in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So this is pretty close to the low end super regeneration that we're seeing with Bad Juju, but doesn't quite measure up to the high end effects. And the last thing we need to test is the bonus damage from the String of Curses stacks. And just something to make note of, this is a weapon bound damage increase, and will stack with external damage buffs like an Empowering Rift or High Energy Fire. At base, the damage profile will be exactly the same as a lightweight frame pulse rifle, dealing 1082 points of damage on a crit versus Carl. With 1 stack of String of Curses, crit damage goes to 1299. At 2 stacks, we're going to 1515. 3 stacks nets us 1731, and when carrying 4 stacks, each bullet lands for 1948. And at 5 stacks, each crit registers for 2164 points of damage. Moral of the story, that's a big damage increase. Each stack we gain is giving us 20% more damage, so at 5 stacks, our damage has doubled from that of the base value. On the performance end of things, Bad Juju remains an excellent tool for ripping through mobs of enemies. And given the sheer amount of enemies that we're seeing in newly released content, inherently, Bad Juju feels even stronger. More adds leads to more stacks of String of Curses, which leads to more damage, which also leads to our super meter refreshing very quickly. Especially when you consider this weapon is firing in full auto, and any kill you get with Bad Juju fully refreshes the magazine. And it's a good thing full auto is on this weapon, because you'd probably wear out your left mouse button or your right trigger on your controller if it wasn't. And that 100% damage buff that we're seeing gives us the ability to deal with major tier targets quite easily. You can build your stacks up dealing with trash ads, and then shift your attention to the biggest target on the field and melt them down. Which works out really well in Gambit, since the whole premise of the game mode plays right into the strengths of Bad Juju. And with the Catalyst unlocked, not only are we extending the duration of String of Curses, but we're also going to be generating Orbs of Power, which means even more super energy. Also, Unstoppable Pulse Rifle here in Season of the Chosen is in the artifact, so this can be a serviceable weapon in content where champions are present. Speaking of artifact mods, Sunder and Glare can work pretty well with Bad Juju. Range isn't necessarily this weapon's strong suit, which we'll get into in the PvP section, but being a pulse rifle, it inherently does have some range built in. With this mod, rapid precision hits from distance will apply a 20% damage debuff to a target. At 6 energy, it's expensive, but it's effective. 2 areas where Bad Juju falters though. First, if you're in an encounter or a boss arena where all the ads have been killed off, you're kinda out of luck. Ads are necessary to fuel this weapon, and without any there, you're kinda just left with a lightweight frame pulse rifle in your hands. Second, endgame level content. You're gonna see the biggest benefit out of Bad Juju when rapidly stringing together kills. More time is gonna be required to focus down a single target in higher level activities. And enemies are gonna be hitting harder, so you may be diving for cover more often. Both of those things combined can interrupt String of Curses quite often. Plus, you're giving up your exotic slot to run Bad Juju. And I really think there are a lot of exotic options that are better suited for endgame level activities. But let's move into PvP and see how Bad Juju is performing in there. Alright, for the damage numbers, and as always testing at tier 6 resilience, and I did stopwatch the time to kills just to make sure I was calculating the time in between bursts correctly. At base, Bad Juju is registering 25 points of damage on a crit and 16 points of damage to the body. This puts our optimal time to kill at 0.93 seconds by landing 8 crits, and the body shot time to kill comes in at 1.33 seconds with 13 shots landed. For the damage increase with String of Curses, I'll throw the results up on screen just so I'm not sitting here spouting numbers at you. But there are some things to note. First, the damage increase in PvP does not match that of PvE. Here, each stack of String of Curses is netting us roughly 10% more damage from stack to stack, as opposed to 20% in PvE. But just having one stack, we need one less crit to down an enemy Guardian. And at 3 stacks, we see a significant dip in our TTK, taking roughly 0.6 seconds to down a target, requiring only 2 bursts and 6 crits landed. And if by some string of luck you can amass 5 stacks of String of Curses in the Crucible, your body shot damage will match that of the base crit damage. For the super regen, just like in the previous section, I will be running tier 5 intellect. And again, I will be using Time Worn Spire to establish a control. So I secured 10 kills on Agent Sparkles, and saw my super up and ready to go in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I repeated the exact same process with Bad Juju, and here I had my super back in 2 minutes and 48 seconds. So just by downing one Guardian at a time, I did shave 22 seconds off the controlled super cooldown. Running through the same process, but now downing 2 Guardians at a time, I saw my super meter fill up in 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Same 10 kills, but since we were under the 1x stack of String of Curses when the second Guardian was downed, our super cooldown was reduced just a touch. So just like in PvE, when we have higher stacks of String of Curses, we will gain more super energy per kill. And for the physical range, Bad Juju will hit for full damage from up to 33 meters away. Not all that great for a pulse rifle. Alright, performance wise in PvP, I gotta say, personally, I don't love it. But we'll start out with the pros. The automatic reloading of this weapon on a kill is very, very nice, especially if there are multiple enemy Guardians in the area. Bad Juju also carries a weapon bound damage increase. More damage is always better than not more damage. And being weapon bound, this does stack with external damage buffs for more damage. And on the same hand, the String of Curses intrinsic trait is reducing our super cooldown. If you have a weapon with Thresh on it, it is not going to work in PvP, but Bad Juju does. So just by securing kills with this weapon, you will see your super more often, and generally speaking, more supers are better than not more supers. This is also an extremely stable weapon and sees very little movement on a trigger pull. The hipfire accuracy is very good since this weapon does come equipped with hipfire grip. So if you need to get a few bursts off quick to clean up a target, it's reliable. But onto the issues that I have with this gun. First, the base optimal time to kill is not great. And in 3 bursts, 8 out of the 9 bullets must land as crits for you to hit that optimal time to kill. The body shot time to kill is good, but there are a whole slew of weapons in the game currently that can flat out outgun Bad Juju. Next, we have a low range stat and an average aim assist value. The stability here is good, but lower marks in range not only walk in that damage fall off start distance to only 34 meters, but they also result in lower overall bullet accuracy. So while the high stability seems to help this weapon from mid-range in, when trying to use it around its maximum optimal range, it does seem to lose some consistency. And at the same time, being a burst fire weapon with a slower time to kill, it's really not built for closer range engagements either. So when using Bad Juju, I feel like I'm kinda stuck with a mid-range only weapon, and I generally look for a little more range versatility from a primary. And while the damage increase is nice to have, it's pretty rare to see the high-end effects of it. Is it common to secure double kills with Bad Juju? I mean, sure. Triple downs? Maybe sometimes. But it's unlikely that you're going to be mowing down 4 or 5 Guardians at a crack on a consistent basis with this thing. But hey, if you are, more power to you. So for the verdict, Bad Juju in mid to low level PvE content, awesome. Lots of damage, lots of super energy, lots of shooting of the bullets. But it does lose some of its effectiveness in higher end content. In Gambit, Bad Juju was working great for me. It felt right at home in that activity. In PvP, I mean, it can work, and I'm sure there are people out there making it work. I consider myself to be merely an above average PvP player, but I've been avidly participating in the Crucible for, like 7 years now. I have a pretty keen sense of when a gun is holding me back, and when using Bad Juju, it definitely felt like it was. But hey, if Bad Juju's your baby and you're slaying out with it in the Crucible, I mean, keep at it, my man. There's a gun for everyone in Destiny, but in the Crucible, Bad Juju just isn't the one for me. If you did enjoy this video though, please remember to leave it a like, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel if you're digging the content and you'd like to see more. To catch me live, I will occasionally be streaming right here on YouTube. And to contact me, look for Ironworker814 on Twitter, join our channel Discord, link will be in the description, or comment down below and I will do my best to get back to you. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this weapon review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.